Welcome to Parlay TV.
Plenty of things look easy at first. Skydiving, lion taming. From the comfort of your armchair, all sorts of risks look easy as
Cristiano Ronaldo, Diogo Jota, and Bruno Fernandes literally
blew Russia off the park in a clinical display of attacking football.
Wow.
Sorry, what did you say, Kobe?
Wow, bro.
Let's break it down.
I am Pat Mayo, and I'm here to give you the best pick at the top of the board, the best bet, if you will.
So I'm going to go with just under 25 for Middleton here.
All right, everybody, welcome back into Spreadzies. NFL Week 8 is here, and it's time for myself and Jelani to give you our picks. And last week, I saw myself having, I think, my best week to date, Jelani. I went 9-6 to now bring my overall record to 41-35. How did you do last week?
Yeah, well, I only got 7 correct. So right now I'm at 40-34, I believe. So yeah, I'm just trying to work things out. It wasn't really the best week, I'd say. A lot of weird games, especially in the early window, the 1 o'clock window. But we'll see how I do this week, trying to catch up to you, one behind you now. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's getting close. Like 1 week you're in the lead, next week I'm in the lead. It's going back and forth. It's going to shape up for one fantastic finish. We got a lot of games this week, 14 games. So we're just going to jump right into it. And it all starts with an epic Thursday nighter. You have the 6-1 Green Bay Packers taking on the 7-0 Arizona Cardinals. So this line was interesting, Jelani. It opened up as 3, but then after the news of Devontae Adams came out, now it sees the Cardinals as a full 6-point favorite at home. Who do you like in the spot?
Yeah, before that Adams news, I was all on Green Bay, but I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna stick with them. Why not? I'm gonna stick with Green Bay. I think that Arizona is a really good team. They're off to a great start this year, unbeaten. I don't think this is a team that we could compare to last year's Steelers that were unbeaten for a while. I think that team was kind of weird, wasn't really a true contender. Arizona's a real contender. Kyler Murray and these guys playing fantastic football right now. But I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers and company here. I think that this is a team that is built to beat Arizona. I think Arizona, they have had, some tough games, not really yet. And now we're in a tougher stage in their schedule. So I think that now that they play a contender and a real team in Green Bay, I think that Green Bay should be the pick here. I know that the Adams news has come out, but I believe in Aaron Rodgers to get this one done. They know that this is a big game. Why? Because when we're talking about the NFC playoff picture moving forward, this is going to be a game that holds a lot of weight, and we'll see how it plays out. The Packers are my pick here.
Yeah, well said. I got to agree with you, Jelani. 6 points, way too many for me. I'm surprised the line jumped up that much after the Adams news. Obviously, he's very important to that offense, but there's still Aaron Rodgers. They're healthy. There's still a lot of weapons around him. This offense has been playing great. The defense has been responding as well. And like you said, Arizona, they haven't really beaten a top-tier team yet. They've taken care of business against teams they're expected to be great. They had that statement win a few weeks ago, going into Cleveland and winning that game when they're actually an underdog. But here, I think they're going to run into a big problem. I like the Packers along with the Buccaneers and maybe even your Cowboys as being a couple of the better teams in the NFC. I'm not sold on this Cardinals team yet. Yes, obviously, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. They might even end up winning this division. But Kyler Murray, I want to see him step up in this game. He's having an MVP-type season, but this is going to be his true measuring stick going up against Aaron Rodgers, the bad man that he is, who's been in so many of these big games. So at the end of the day, I got to go with the experience of Aaron Rodgers to show up here. So I do like the Packers +6, and I wouldn't be surprised, Jelani, if this is where the Cardinals lose their first game of the season.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking here. If it's a pick 'em, a win-loss, I'm going with Green Bay in this one. And I do think, though, for the Cardinals, Zach Ertz is going to have an impact. He did have a touchdown in their last matchup against the Texans. A huge trade. They want to show people that their offense is to be reckoned with. But yeah, we'll see what happens this Thursday, excuse me. It's going to be a fantastic game. Great way to start off the week. Now we have the 49ers. They are playing the Chicago Bears this weekend. The Niners are favored by 3 points. Luca, do you agree with that or not?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I mean, San Francisco, they did not look good. They got upset on Sunday Night Football. I think you had the Colts covering, so good job with that. San Francisco is a little bit of a mess right now. I mean, you look at Jimmy G, he's obviously not 100%. Trey Lance still going through the motions, dealing with his own stuff. I thought that was the game San Francisco needed to have a week ago, and now they're going to be taking on a Bears team that also is coming off a really disappointing game. I mean, Justin Fields looked absolutely terrible. Couple of turnovers, and he just got outplayed in every sense of the word against the great Tom Brady, the GOAT that he is. It was a tough day for the Bears. Couldn't get the run game going. Couldn't get any passing game going. The defense got lit up. So now can the Bears bounce back here and, contain San Francisco, who they have their own problems? This is a team that cannot get their offense rolling, and their defense has been suspect the last couple of weeks. This is a very tough game. It's going to be a must-win for both these teams. I'm going to go with the Bears at home here. I think their defense will respond, and I do like Khalil Mack and those boys to give Jimmy G a lot of problems. I don't think Jimmy G is necessarily the long-term solution at quarterback for the Niners. I think it's going to continue to show here. And San Francisco being a slight favorite, I'll take those points. I'm going with the Bears plus 3.5. I think, if anything, this is a field goal game.
I could understand why the Niners are favored here, because, roster-wise, you'd probably say the Niners are the better team. I'm going to take the Niners this weekend against the Bears. The Bears did come up very short against the Bucs. Obviously, Bucs just outmatched everyone, and the Bears, they were a victim to that. I'm just not sold, though, on Justin Fields right now. I know he's a rookie, so it's going to take some time. Obviously, I think people are so quick on rookies, and they want them to become the greatest thing ever, like Patrick Mahomes and all these guys out here. But it takes time. It takes time. So I think that there's going to be a bit more growing pains. I don't really like what I'm seeing from the Bears' offensive scheme in terms of Matt Nagy and what he's doing with Fields right now. I'm not seeing things work out for them right now. So I'm going to go with the Niners. But now that I'm taking the Niners, I need to see more from Jimmy Garoppolo. Like you mentioned, he just hasn't been that guy this season. I'm pretty disappointed in the Niners, to be honest. I thought this was a team that could definitely make a bid for, a playoff berth as a wild card this season. But if they lose this game, I mean, they continue to fall down the ranks in the NFC, and it's not going to look too clear or too pretty for them moving forward. So they need to get this win here, especially coming off a loss where I know it was bad weather, but I mean, you were at home and you were playing a dome team in Indianapolis. So I do think that here, Kyle Shanahan knows they need to get a W here just to keep pace somehow with the other teams in their division, let alone the NFC as a whole. So yeah, give me the Niners here, but I think it'll be a tight game.
Yeah, the Niners had a lot of hype coming in. I actually like them as being one of those wild card teams, but they have all that talent, but quarterback still remains to be an issue with them. Okay, next game here. We're going to see a big spread. The Buffalo Bills at home against the Miami Dolphins. The Bills, 13.5-point favorites. Are you laying the points here?
You know what? I am. I think that the Bills, we've seen it in the early weeks of the season, they are capable of destroying teams by more than 2 touchdowns. It's very, very possible. And in those games, they played teams that didn't really have the great defenses, that weren't really, gelling or weren't really playing well at the time. And we're seeing that from Miami. I don't really know what's going on with Miami. Honestly, when you're talking about the most disappointing teams in the NFL right now, Miami should be there. They were 10-6 last year, and they were playing really, really well. They almost made a playoff berth, almost had a playoff berth last year. And we were coming into the year saying, you know what, Tua is going to improve, and this team as a whole is going to improve because of that. We haven't seen it. I don't know if it's Tua's fault. I don't know if it's the defense, if it's the O-line. I don't know, but there's just a lot of issues here. We're seeing the frustration from Brian Flores. And what are we seeing on Twitter all the time? The rumors about, a potential trade for the Miami Dolphins quarterback right now. So all those things being put together, I don't like the chances. I don't like, the odds for the Dolphins to cover. I think that the Bills just overmatch the Dolphins in every area, all 3 phases of the game. I think they're just a lot better. And you know what, Josh Allen, again, MVP type year we're seeing from him. I think they're going to bounce back, right, this week. So yeah, give me the Bills. It's not going to be close at all. I don't know where Miami goes from here.
Yeah, a lot of rumors right now. Deshaun Watson in conversations. Apparently, Miami's a team that's in that conversation. The Panthers are another team, possibly a front runner of landing Deshaun Watson. With the deadline fast approaching, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Jelani, call me crazy, but I'm going with the Dolphins here. I think 13.5 is way too many points. At the end of the day, this still is a divisional game, and I know the Dolphins look like one of the worst teams in all of football right now, but the silver lining is, at least the last 2 weeks, granted against weaker opponents, they did keep those games close and had a chance to win both of them. I think we can't just pinpoint the blame to Tua. I think it's everything going on in Miami. A lot of people calling for Flores' name to be ousted of Miami. I think he's going to be on the hot seat as these losses continue to pile up because, yeah, this is a Dolphins team that we're expected to at least be a wild card team this season. Obviously, they're not going to have their pick. It's going to Philadelphia. Obviously, their quarterback in Tua is not progressing as they would have liked. But I think it's just a total team right now that needs to step up both sides of the ball, and they got to play a lot better. So what a statement this could be for Miami, given everything they're dealing with, to go into Buffalo and make it a tight game, a closer game than what many people expect. So I do expect Tua to have a solid game. He did look okay last week. I know he had those 2 very, very questionable throws, which led to INTs. But other than that, he did make some big throws late in that game. I think he's gradually getting more comfortable as the season goes on. Obviously, he missed the first part with injury, so he's still trying to get back into the whole scheme of things. So, yeah, I think Miami is going to shock a lot of people here. They will make this an interesting one. I don't think they'll win, but I think they will cover that 13.5. And, so I'm going with the Dolphins here on the road.
All right. And another divisional game that we have, it's in the NFC South. We have the Carolina Panthers going against the Atlanta Falcons this weekend. Atlanta favored 2.5 points, a team that you can't really trust, but they're coming off of a win against Miami. So do you agree here or not?
Yeah, I like the Falcons in this spot. They're 3-3. In recent memory, they have owned this rivalry, especially being at home. Falcons are catching fire. I mean, this is a team that a lot of people thought they were going to be at the bottom of the entire NFC standings. And here they are, with a chance to maybe sneak into the wild card with that extra wild card, spot in place. The Falcons, their offense has been looking good these last couple of weeks. It's the defense. If that defense can garner some momentum and play slightly better than they have been, this is a Falcons team that could possibly be a sleeper for that wild card. I mean, I'm loving, Matt Ryan to Kyle Pitts. That's been a connection that continues to get better. Matt Ryan has been playing at a high level. He's the veteran. He knows what it takes to win and playing some big games. And just looking in the, the other way, Jelani, and looking at the Panthers, this is a team that's a complete mess right now. They started the season 3-0, and it's gone the other way. 3-4 now. They don't even know what's going on with their quarterback. I mean, is Sam Darnold the long-term solution? They threw in P.J. Walker a week ago. Who's going to start this week? That remains to be seen. And Christian McCaffrey continues to be out. I think he has proven to be the engine for this team. And as long as he's out, not healthy, I just can't trust this Panthers team at all. So, yeah, Falcons going to continue that momentum. They've won a couple games in a row. I think it continues here. Give me the Falcons at home, -2.5.
All right, I'm going to take the underdog here. I'm going to take the Panthers. I know that they're coming off of a week where I don't even know what happened. I don't know what happened in New York. It was just a terrible performance, specifically from Sam Darnold, especially when, like you said, we're talking about a team that came into the year unbeaten. They were looking really good. A lot of people were like, okay, the Panthers are here. They play really hard, and they do. They do play hard a lot of weeks under Matt Rule. And I think that when it comes to divisional matchups, everyone's trying to win. It's going to be close. I don't see it being, a repeat of what happened in New York. I know that Sam Darnold, again, his performance wasn't great, but they do have faith in him. I think that they are going to continue having him as the starter. They're going to keep him there. And I think that he has a bounce back week against a defense that has been exposed a lot this season. The Atlanta Falcons, can't really trust that defense at all. And honestly, I know that Christian McCaffrey isn't there. Chuba Hubbard trying to hold down the fort hasn't really been quite what we want in terms of the rushing game. But here you got to rely on your air attack. I think that it's going to be a lot of fireworks from the Panthers offense this week. And I think that, DJ Moore, I think he's going to have a good game this week, and also look for Anderson in the air. I think that Sam Darnold needs to connect with him this weekend for sure. But yeah, give me the Panthers. I'm going to take the underdog here, plus 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, if you are going to be putting some money on this game, maybe you stay away from this game because it could go in one of two directions. Next game, we got another divisional game, Jelani. We got the Steelers coming off their bye, taking on the Browns, and the Browns are 3.5-point favorites. So this is a big game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Browns. I think that the Steelers are gonna make this tough. I don't think that this is gonna be an easy game whatsoever for Cleveland, but what I saw from Cleveland last week, I was very, very impressed. You know what? Despite the fact that they didn't have Baker Mayfield out there, they were going down the field with ease, right, against the Denver Broncos. And it looked a lot of drives they had, starting their own 15, starting at their own 10, whatever it was. They managed to get down the field, and do things in the rushing game and in the passing game. And I think, honestly, this is going to happen again. I don't think these are the same old Browns that we've seen the past few years in this rivalry with the Steelers. The Steelers have owned them for a long, long time. But dating back to that playoff game, we saw the Browns wake up and finally beat them. And now I think this is going to happen again. The only thing is that, as for the Browns, can they limit Najee Harris? I think that if you limit him and you force Big Ben to make these plays, I think that would be good for the Browns. Just, reducing the rushing attack from Pittsburgh. But yeah, Pittsburgh's in a kind of weird spot. They're not at the top of their division right now. A lot of people, that was their underdog pick for the playoffs. I don't really see it. I haven't really been impressed with the Steelers as much this year. But yeah, give me the Browns here. I think that they're going to get this one done in a very, very close game.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to take the points. I'm going with the Steelers. I think the Browns are just simply too banged up right now. I mean, it's not even confirmed yet if Mayfield will be the starter here, so we might see Case Keenum again. Obviously, he's a veteran. He won last week. He knows how to win games. But if Keenum's got to go up against, T.J. Watt and company, I think it could be a big, long day for him. And then, you look at Nick Chubb, is he going to be 100%? He did practice, but what's his status? So I think there's a lot of question marks with the Browns. And then you look at the Steelers, they are relatively healthy. They've been playing much better. Najee Harris, can he get it going? Big Ben, can he manage the game? He's looked a lot better in these last two games for the Steelers, which is why they have W's in both those games. So Steelers trying to, get some momentum going here. And this is a big game for them because, ultimately the winner of this game will keep those wild card dreams alive. And this could be a little bit of a revenge spot for the Steelers. First time these two teams are playing each other since the playoffs. We know how that ended. So the Steelers, I think, will come up big here, Jelani, and I like them plus the points. And I wouldn't be surprised if they even win this game on a last-second field goal. I think it's going to be very close. Every time Steelers and Browns play each other, relatively speaking, it is a close game. It's a nitty-gritty game. It's a brutal game, physical game. So I think we see a lot more of that here. So I like the Steelers plus 3.5.
All right, and now we got the Bengals. The Bengals going to play against the Jets. 9.5 points for the Bengals. They are favored here. I think that we know where you're going with this one.
Yeah, you know what? I got to take the Bengals minus 9.5. I got to lay the points here. Very, very crazy situation in New York. So for those of you who haven't been following along, Zach Wilson is going to miss 2 to 4 weeks. So you're probably thinking, okay, that means Mike White. Well, I don't think so. I mean, the Jets just made a last-second trade the other day. And guess who's coming back to New York, Jelani? Joe Flacco. This is who the Jets are going to be rolling out. I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Jets right now. I get it. You want to at least bring in a veteran quarterback to give you a chance to win some of these games. And let's call it for what it is. Joe Flacco over the last 2 years has been the best quarterback for the Jets. And that's saying a lot. But they're going to meet a different animal here, no pun intended, with the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, this team is going to put up points all across the board. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, the list goes on and on. So versatile offensively. Their defense is showing a lot of good things as well. I mean, nobody expected the Bengals to blow out my Baltimore Ravens the way that they did. That was a statement game. This is a Bengals team that should have beaten the Green Bay Packers. So they could only have one loss up until this point. This is they're proving to be one of the best teams in all of the AFC. I'm a big believer of this Bengals team. I don't think they're going to slip up here. Yes, Joe Flacco is going to, know them a little bit from his days of playing with the Ravens, playing all those games against the Bengals, but this isn't those Bengals team of the past. This is a new and improved Bengals team. This team is for real. This team is going places, and I think they are going to blow out the Jets here. And yeah, I'm laying the 9.5.
Yeah, you said it all. I mean, there's not really much to say about this game, especially now that Zach Wilson is out. I know you bring in a veteran presence like Flacco, but I don't even think that's enough. Why? Because the Bengals defense has impressed us this season. That we were coming into the year wondering, okay, would they actually be a competent defense? Would they actually help out the offense? Because we knew the offense was fine with all their weapons, but can the defense do something? Well, they have rushed with 4 guys and it's been effective. You know, their secondary hasn't really allowed too much. They've really impressed this season. So they're going to continue that this weekend against the Jets, a team where we just don't see a lot from them week in, week out. It's pretty depressing in New York. They don't really know what's going on. And I feel bad for Saleh. You know, he comes in as a new head coach, but he has to deal with this mess. I'm sorry, Jets fans, it's not going to happen. And Joe Burrow, honestly, he's fantastic. I liked him coming out of LSU, and now you bring in Chase, his one of his favorite targets. He's having a rookie of the year campaign right now. The way he's playing, it seems like every game there's going to be a deep ball or yards after catch play that he has that just impresses us. We saw it against your Ravens, but yeah, you know what? Right now, when you're looking at the AFC, who's in number 1? The Bengals are first in the AFC. If the playoffs started today, they would have the bye week. So I'm really, really impressed with the Bengals right now, man. I don't think that we should be sleeping on this team. I'm happy for them. And honestly, after Joe Burrow got hurt last year, I'm just proud of how he's been resilient and has come back and looks really, really good. Probably a Pro Bowler if this continues down the stretch. But yeah, for this game, I think the Bengals are the clear-cut favorite. It's going to be Cincinnati all day long.
Okay, we're on the same page there. We're going to move on now to a divisional matchup. This is going to be a good one. You got the Tennessee Titans. They've been looking really good lately, taking on the Indianapolis Colts, who have also been looking really good lately. The Titans, the slight favorite here, -1, which is pretty much a pick'em game here.
Yeah, this one is definitely pick'em. You know what? The Colts, they haven't been that bad. I know a lot of people aren't really talking about Indy that much this season, but you know what? A guy like Carson Wentz has played really, really well. He's limited the turnovers. He's been effective in terms of the passing game. He's managed the team really, really well. So they're coming into this matchup against the Titans being confident. You know what? They came off a tough win in that weather against San Francisco. But here, I'm going to go with the Titans, the favorite here. I think the Tennessee Titans, after that weird loss against the New York Jets, they've really responded and they've beaten the 2 teams that everyone's been talking about heading into the year. They beat Buffalo in that thriller, and then they just dismantled Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I see really, really effective play from Derrick Henry right now. I hate that the MVP is a quarterback award now because he has a strong case for that as the year progresses. He's probably going to break the record for total rushing yards in a season. I know that the 17th game was added, but he might even break that in 16. He's had an impressive campaign. And like I said last week, for the Titans to beat the Chiefs, I was like, they need the air attack to come alive. And we saw that. We saw that in Ryan Tannehill. I believe he's the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. A lot of people don't really talk about him, but Ryan Tannehill has had a pretty good year. I think he's going to have a great Sunday against the Colts. But the one thing for the Titans, I'd say, you know, even though I'm taking them, I do want them to limit Jonathan Taylor. I think if you limit him, then your chances, you know, they rise. So I'm going to take the Titans, but honestly, this is a pick-em. This is going to be a very close game, divisional game. The Colts aren't that bad. This would be a huge win if they get this done against the Titans moving forward, because these are the 2 teams in the AFC South that we're talking about. But yeah, the Titans coming off with 2 big wins against 2 AFC contenders. I think they're riding on a high, and they're going to get this one done.
Yeah, this is the Colts' opportunity to get into the division winner conversation, because everybody thought the Titans were just going to run away with this thing, and then here come the Colts, as they look like they were dead in the water, you know, racking up these wins. They could easily be, I think, 5-2. I mean, they've almost beaten a lot of these teams that they lost to. You know, the Ravens come to mind. This is going to be a really good game. Tough one to pick here. I'm going to go with the Colts at home. And listen, I give a lot of credit to Mike Vrabel and company because, like you said, after that loss against the Jets, I thought that could have maybe been the beginning of the end for the Titans of being exposed as, a team that's not as good as what we thought they were going to be coming into the year. But since then, they have just been a completely different animal. You talk about that statement win at home against the Bills. Then they demolished KC, not even just beat them, demolished them at home. Derrick Henry, like you said, definitely deserves some bids for MVP when it's all said and done. Tannehill, he doesn't make mistakes. That's what I like about him. He's a game manager. He doesn't, hurt you, and he makes the necessary throws when he needs to. I love how he mixes in the play action. I mean, it's easy to do that when you got Derrick Henry in the backfield. But I'm going to go with the Colts here just because they are riding that momentum. And this is a team that is playing solid on both sides. Like, you got to give a lot of credit to Carson Wentz. He's not looking bad out there. He's looked much better than what people thought. I mean, Michael Pittman showed up last game as his number one target. And I think in this one, the defense is going to be the difference maker. You talk about guys like Kenny Moore, DeForest Buckner, Darius Leonard. I think these guys are going to find a way to rush, the quarterback and maybe create some turnovers, help Carson Wentz get some short fields. I think all in all, this is going to be a game that comes down to the wire. Both these teams usually play in those closely contested games. So, yeah, I'm going to go the other way here. I think the Colts being at home is going to be the difference maker with that defense, and I expect another good game from Carson Wentz and company. And with the win here, the Colts will make it interesting down the stretch in terms of which one of these two teams will win the division, because I think it's safe to say we're ruling out the Jags and the Texans at this point.
Yeah, no, that's true. But now we got the Philadelphia Eagles. They're playing the Detroit Lions, 0-7 Detroit Lions this week. The Eagles are favored by 3 points. I have an interesting pick here. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I might steal your thunder with this one. I'm going with the Lions here, +3, and they are going to get their first win on Sunday. That is my upset pick of the week. The Lions can win this game. And I mean, if there's one team that deserves a win so badly, Jelani, it's this Lions team. I mean, they covered the number last week in a spot where a lot of people thought they were going to get blown out. This is a team that's been playing hard, fighting hard. How are they 0-7? I have no idea. They should at least have 1 or 2 wins. So I think they're finally going to get that win here. I mean, Dan Campbell's got these guys playing hard. Jared Goff, you got to credit him. He looked good last week against his former team. And I mean, they're going to be taking on an Eagles team that I think has looked worse collectively. I mean, this is a team that just can't seem to get anything going. And here's, I guess, a hot take, if you will. But Jalen Hurts, I think he should be benched. I mean, this is a guy right now that's not looking good. And I think they should at least try something different with a Gardner Minshew. I mean, you got a pretty good backup in Minshew who you can bring in and at least, do some things offensively. But you look at Hurts, it's just getting uglier every week, fumbling the football on snaps, not racking up the yards, not giving his offense opportunities, not, putting up points. I know he's, this is his second year. You got to have a little bit more of a leash with him. But those fans in Philadelphia, we know they have no patience. So you got to change something up. You got to, mix something. So now with Miles Sanders too, he had to leave Sunday's game with an ankle injury. I don't know how this team's going to put up any points. And you're going to be taking on a Lions team that can put up points, and their defense isn't that bad. This is a defense that has looked good in some of those losses. So, yeah, I like the Lions. They're winning this game outright, so I'm taking the points.
Yeah, I'm taking the points too. I think, again, the Lions aren't – to me, they aren't a winless team. I mean, they are a team that's been close. They should have 3 wins on their schedule right now. It's unfortunate that they haven't gotten that done yet. But this is a week where we could say, you know what, they have a realistic chance to get this done. And again, I was pretty impressed with what I saw. I know they lost, but against the Rams, you come into LA against a contender. And they were close. They were 1 point. It was a 1-point game. They had the lead, actually. Before that, it was close throughout. And then, yeah, it fell through. They had a chance to get ahead, in the red zone, but Jalen Ramsey came up big. The one thing, that I want to see from the Lions this week is red zone. I want them to convert on those third downs, on those second downs in the red zone. They just struggled there, and that's why they're winless right now. Because had they come up big in LA or Chicago, for example, when they kept fumbling in the red zone, they'd probably have a W on their schedule. So I think that honestly, Dan Campbell, like you said, he has these guys playing hard. I don't think the Lions just sit down and take a beating. They never do. They do what they have to do. Is just, do they have enough talent to beat these other teams? No. But honestly, we've been impressed with what we've seen from them. I think that DeAndre Swift will have a good game against the Eagles this week. We saw, some lapses on the defensive side of the ball for the Eagles in terms of the running game. So I think the Lions are going to rely on that part a lot. And yeah, the Eagles, I mean, I just don't really know what's happening with them. They're in shambles right now. I think that it's not looking good, like you said, for Jalen Hurts right now. And yeah, you pointed it out. Minshew is on the bench, but you brought him over just in case something like this goes on where Jalen's not playing that well or the offense isn't doing enough. So that would be a consideration for Sunday for Nick Sirianni. But yeah, no, the Lions are going to get this done. If they don't get this one, I don't really see a win then. I don't know where a win would come from. This is a great matchup for them. And I think they're going to play harder than the Eagles, and that will result in a win.
Okay, next game here, we got the Los Angeles Rams, big favorites once again, minus 14-point favorites going up against the Houston Texans, who I think are the clear worst team in football right now.
Yeah, I'm going with the Rams here. I don't really see a case for the Texans. I mean, it's just a cast of characters who've been around the league and are still trying to prove themselves. That's what it seems to me. And they're led by Davis Mills. Still a lot of growing pains there as a rookie quarterback. And, with the new coach, David Culley, I mean, there's so many things going on in Houston that just spell problems. I just think the Rams, they're coming off of a game, again, against the Lions, where they were kind of surprised. They were kind of shocked with how tight it was. I think this week they understand the competition on the other side, and they know that this will be a win. I think this is pretty clear. But I just hope they don't take advantage and, sit back and relax. It's still an NFL game, right? It's still, anything can happen any given Sunday. So I do think that Matt Stafford in this offense will have a lot of fireworks. It will be a field day. Look for Cooper Kupp. Fantasy owners, look for him to have a huge, huge day. He's currently number one in almost every category. So, yeah, the Rams are my pick here. I don't really think we should spend too much time on this one. Sorry, Houston fans.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to somehow make a case for the Texans, they're at home and maybe they catch the Rams napping a little bit, taking them lightly, overlooking this game. Because the last time the Texans were at home was, I believe, that game against the Patriots, a game that they should have won. They were all big in that game, and then the Patriots have to come back big. So that's the only way I see the Rams possibly getting upset, if they take this team lightly and the Texans are able to get off to a good start. Yeah, I just feel bad for the Texans organization right now. I mean, Davis Mills, you can tell he's trying out there, but just not enough talent around him. David Culley, very, very rough first year for him. You got a quarterback in Deshaun Watson on the bench that it's only a matter of time until you trade him. What's going to happen with that? So, yeah, there's a lot of problems going on in Houston right now, and there's not enough there for me to take them. So I got to go with the Rams minus 14.5. And the Texans, they haven't covered these big spreads. You talk about that game against the Bills. They got obliterated. Then even last week against Arizona, they got off to a pretty good start in that first quarter, but then Arizona blew them out the rest of the game. So they're not covering the number. They're not looking good. And yeah, I think their offense is not going to produce anything against this Rams defense. And like you said, Cooper Kupp, big day for fantasy owners, Matthew Stafford as well. It's just going to be an air attack for the Rams.
All right. And pretty interesting AFC matchup here. We have two young quarterbacks, New England playing against the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers favored 5.5 here. Do you agree with that in the Chargers, or are you taking the Patriots here?
Yeah, very tough game. How are the Chargers going to look after getting blown out and then coming out of their bye week? Honestly, I'm taking the Patriots here, Jelani. I've liked what I've seen from this team. This is a team that went toe-to-toe with your Cowboys, who I think are one of the big teams, big favorites in the NFC. The Patriots could, they went toe-to-toe with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, another favorite in the NFC. The Patriots are playing hard. They're coming off a beatdown of the Jets where they put up 50-plus points. I think they're going to make this one interesting. I really like what I see from Mac Jones right now. I mean, I think it's safe to say he's the clear-cut best quarterback out of the quarterbacks that were taken this year in the draft. I know it's still really early, but you could tell this kid's going to be special. You could tell he's going to be the long-term solution for the Patriots at QB. I don't see him falling off. I mean, this is a guy who is making great throws out there. He looks like a veteran, managing the clock, doesn't make too many of the big mistakes. And even if he does, he comes right back at you down the field, not fazed by any of that. So that's really good to see in a young quarterback. The Patriots, Brandon Bolden, I think they're going to find ways to make this game close. They're going to be able to put up points on the board against a Chargers defense that looks pretty fraudulent right now. I mean, you talk about the beating they took against the Ravens and then all those points they gave up against the Browns. I think New England's going to have a big day offensively like they did in that game against the Jets. Now, Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, they got their own weapons that they could put up big points. So this could end up being a shootout at the end of the day. I do think the Chargers will sneak out with the W here, but like I said, I think it's going to be close. So I'm taking the 5.5 with the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm going with the Chargers with the pick'em or win-loss, and for the spread here. I do like what you said about a shootout. This could be a potential shootout game, but if that's the case, who do I put more of my stock into? It would definitely be Justin Herbert. I know that, the Ravens, they dealt with them. They did not let anything happen that Sunday, but you know what? They're coming off of this bye. They're going to come in. Brandon Staley's going to have the right plan in place. It's going to be a very interesting battle with Bill Belichick on Sunday. But yeah, Justin Herbert, I think he's going to come up big. He has fallen down a bit on the MVP radar. So let's see if he responds. Let's see if he wakes up and wakes us back up this Sunday. I think that Mac Jones, could he hang with him given it's a shootout? I'm not too sure. Probably not. I'm going to say no. So, yeah, give me the Chargers here. A guy like Keenan Allen is going to be very, very important this Sunday just to ensure that they get down the field in terms of passing attack. And obviously, Austin Eckler, a guy who fantasy owners love and also the Chargers love because he's really underrated in terms of what he can do on both sides, running and the passing game. So I think he's going to be the X factor here. The Chargers get a good one here, a big win, because right now the Raiders are ahead of them in the AFC West. So this would be a very valuable win if they could get this done, and probably clear from Denver and Kansas City, who are below them in the standings. But yeah, give me the Chargers here. This is possibly a matchup of two teams that might be vying for wild card spots as we move down the line in the second part of the season. So it's going to be an important matchup, but yeah, Chargers.
Yeah, this is one of those matchups that I'm most looking forward to this week. That's going to be a good one. Okay, next game here. This game, probably not so good. The Jaguars taking on the Seahawks. I'm pretty confused about this game. Seahawks -3.5. You go first, Jelani. Who do you like here?
I want to go Seahawks, but I don't even know if I should. I'm going to go with Seahawks, though. I think that, honestly, the Jags, they're young team. Things are, not pretty right now in Jacksonville. I know they're not a winless team, but, things haven't gone as smoothly as they would like, especially now that they got Urban Meyer in the door this season. I think Seattle, though, they really, really miss Russell Wilson. That game the other night against the Saints, it was ugly. It was an ugly offensive performance from them. They don't really have a running game that could do things down the stretch. I know Alex Collins is leading the charge, but they do miss Chris Carson, who hasn't been present. This, like you said, it's a weird game. This is a game, if you're saying pick 'em, I think that the Jags could potentially win this game. This is one on their schedule that they could win. And Seattle, their defense hasn't really looked that great. I'd say that the weather really played a role in how the Saints weren't able to put too many points on the board. So I wouldn't really put too much stock into the Seattle defense right now. And that's why the Jags could win on a pick 'em. But I think that this week, Seattle will come up, against the Jaguars and play a pretty well-rounded game. I know Pete Carroll understands that they need a win on their schedule. I mean, they're kind of running out of time when it comes to probably a wild card bid. So they want to get one done. They need to, because Russell Wilson will come back at some point. right? And they need to get some wins just to keep them within the mix. This is one that they need, right? This is the Jaguars. This is one. Don't underestimate them, but this is one that they need to get, just to ensure that they have a chance once Russell Wilson comes back.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to take the Seahawks here. Although the Jags, this could be a potential upset spot coming off their first win in 21 games. They're coming off a bye. So if they're ever going to feel good, now's the time. But you look at Seattle, they could have won these last couple of games that they lost. I mean, we're seeing a common theme. Geno Smith playing well enough, but then at the end, he has a drive to do something, and then he just looks out of sync. He looks bad, and that causes the team to lose. So he's not ready for those big moments, but he's managing the game. He's given the Seahawks a chance to win these games. And I mean, you talked about the Rams a few weeks ago, then you talked about the game on Monday Night Football. They could have won that game. So Seattle is playing hard. They're not getting blown out, which is good to see. And like you said, they got to at least get some wins for when Russell Wilson does come back. I think they're saying like week 10, best case scenario. So they at least have a chance to make a run down the stretch. Remember, there's that one more game in the season. So I know they look dead in the water right now at 2-5, but hey, they could always get hot, maybe make an improbable run. I think that final wild card too allows them the opportunity to have some optimism. So yeah, I think the Seahawks need to get this. If they do not win this game, they're not making the playoffs. It's as simple as that. So I do expect Geno Smith to make the plays that he needs to. Tyler Lockett's going to have a big game. And I do think the Jags are going to keep up. I think this will be another one of those games that go down to the wire, but I will take the Seahawks -3.5.
All right. And a very intriguing game at the 4 o'clock window. We have a rivalry game. We have the Bucks 4.5-point favorite against the New Orleans Saints coming off of that win on Monday Night Football. So Luca, do you take the Bucks here or do you buy in the Saints right now?
I'll be honest with you. I was surprised that the spread is as low as it is. I thought for sure it would have been at least a touchdown for the Buccaneers. So I'm taking the points gladly. I think the Buccaneers are going to win this game by at least 7. I mean, they're just so damn good right now. So many offensive weapons. Like Antonio Brown, Gronk didn't play last game. And look what they did against a good Bears defense, like at least a decent Bears defense. That's not a scrub defense that they played. Right. Tom Brady just throwing the ball everywhere. I mean, Mike Evans, what a big day he had. This is just going to be another big spot for that Buccaneers offense. And again, going back to the Saints and that theme that we always seem to talk about on this show, which version of the Saints are you going to get? They're so inconsistent. I mean, this is the week that Winston and company are supposed to look bad coming off of the win. So I just don't trust Winston to go toe-to-toe with the GOAT. Alvin Kamara, he can do some good things in this game. Expect Sean Payton to come up with a good game plan to try to contain this highly explosive Bucs offense. But this Bucs team, they're looking like the best team right now, and it's going to be tough to keep up with them. I do not see it happening. I think the Bucs are going to win this game by at least 7. So, I'm laying the points here with the Bucs.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bucs as well. Probably not going to be a blowout type of game because they do always have intense battles with the Saints. But I'm going to take the Bucs. Why? Because, like you said, they are just too good. They're just too good. They're better than everyone else right now. And that guy, Tom Brady, I mean, he's having an MVP type year. When you're looking at his numbers, he just had 600 touchdowns. I never thought I'd see the day when a quarterback has 600 TDs for a career. Yes, longevity, but still what he's doing right now. He's 44 years old and he's looking like he's having the time of his life. I don't really remember a time where Tom had this much, ease running an offense. He has everywhere he looks, he has a weapon that he could rely on. And that's, again, without AB, without Gronk, they still managed to create a lot of damage and cause a lot of damage for that Bears defense. So that's going to happen this week. I know the Saints, again, they play the Bucs tough whenever they meet. And, before Tom arrived, they did own the Bucs. But times have changed. I think that the Saints aren't ready for this one. I know that Jameis Winston, every time he plays the Bucs, it's a real important game for him, just trying to prove to Tampa Bay who he can be. But I don't know what Jameis I'm going to get this week. Am I getting famous Jameis or am I getting the other Jameis that isn't impressive at all? I think they're going to need to rely on the running game a lot this weekend just to keep Brady and that offense off the field. But again, I don't see a team stacking up right now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are right now the favorite, probably the best team in football right now. And with Tom Brady, 44 years old, an MVP type year for him, I think he continues what he's doing. And it's going to be interesting to see Mike Evans against Marshawn Lattimore. I love their matchups. But yeah, give me the Bucs.
Okay, we agree there. Next game here, we got the football team taking on the Broncos. Broncos minus 3.5-point favorites at home. Who do you like here?
I'm going with the football team. I love the name. I'm going with Washington this week. I think that Denver is in a weird spot. They're a team where they had a start, and a lot of people were like, okay, they're unbeaten. They look pretty good. The quarterback away. But they've played better teams as of late, and they haven't showed up. They haven't gotten it done. They almost pulled one out in Cleveland, but they ran out of time. I think that this week, though, Washington, Heineke, he had a pretty impressive start against the Green Bay Packers this past Sunday. They ended up losing that game, but here is a spot where I think Washington gets right back in the win column. It will be intriguing to see, though, what defense shows up more. Will it be the Broncos, a defense that some people think is, pretty stout? They have some good guys on that defense, including Patrick Surtain, who is having a fantastic year from the cornerback spot. He's their best corner already. Or is it going to be Washington? Washington has a defense that, at the start of the year, the expectations weren't really being met. You look at that Buffalo game, for example, where they got throttled, but they have been okay as of late. I do need to see more from their rushing, like their pass rushing that was really gassed up as the year started. A lot of people were like, okay, this is going to be the best rushing attack of the NFL. Haven't really seen too much of that. I do expect more this week, though. They're going to bother the quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, on Sunday. So, yeah, give me the Washington football team in this one. They get a win, much needed win, because Dallas kind of, clearing the waters in terms of the NFC East right now. So Washington getting a win would help them moving forward.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just don't like what the Broncos have been doing. I think this is a team that fooled a lot of people with that 3-0 start. I expected them to fall off as they have been. This is not a team that's playoff bound. I mean, yeah, everybody's got to step up there. Bridgewater, Gordon, Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, like everybody just has to step up on the Broncos. This team has not looked as good as that 3-0 start. And a lot of that was just because they were playing really bad teams. Whereas, yeah, the football team, they've been hanging around some pretty stiff competition. And even in that game last week against the Packers, Jelani, I was able to catch quite a bit of it. They had like 2 drives stall on the goal line. Like they could have easily put up points to make that game closer than it ended up being. I mean, Heineke was able to move the ball down the field, able to make some nice throws, nice plays with his feet. So I think he is going to be able to be that mobile quarterback here that can do so many different things. And he will take advantage of a Broncos defense that hasn't been playing as well as they started the season. So I do like the football team. I'm not laying the points with the Broncos. I think the football team cover and they could possibly win here. I see it happening.
All right. And now we have the late game on Halloween night. We have the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings. Cowboys favored here. Or do you think that the Vikings will get this one done?
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. Sunday Night Football on Halloween. I'm going with the mini upset here. I'm going to go with the Vikings at home. I think they're going to win this game. I mean, for as good as the Cowboys have been, the Vikings are a weird team like that. I mean, this is a team that they always are in games. This is a team that hardly ever, gets blown out or looks very, very bad. And I think they have the offensive weapons to keep up with the Cowboys. Obviously, the Cowboys, we know the names there, CeeDee Lamb, Schultz, Zeke. They're going to get their yards. You can't stop them. You can only try to contain them. But, looking at the other side, Dalvin Cook, he's healthier now. Justin Jefferson, he's, going to have a big game. And Kirk Cousins, he's been playing really well. And I think when you talk about underrated quarterbacks, I think he's one of them because we know Kirk Cousins for who he is, big game Kirk, never showing up when it matters. But overall this season, he has been playing very consistent, high quarterback rating, and he hasn't been making those killer mistakes. So I think this is going to be a close game. This is going to be a great game. It could go either way. But I do like the Vikings to pull off a bit of an upset here. I mean, are the Cowboys really going to win all these games? I don't know. Maybe they can. But I do think the Vikings will humble them a bit here in this spot.
Yeah, I'm coming into this one as a Cowboys fan saying to myself, this is not going to be easy. It's always interesting when we play the Minnesota Vikings. We've had some matchups over the past few years that have been pretty close. And yeah, you mentioned it. Kirk Cousins, I don't think that Dallas should underestimate Kirk Cousins this weekend with the offense that he has at his disposal. I think that there's a chance that he could actually come up big in this spot. I'm going to take Dallas here, though. I think that Dallas is playing really, really well. The one thing, though, that I'm looking at is Dak Prescott. They're saying that his calf is fine, but I need to see how he's going to come out, early in the game. Will it be a game where we see a lot more run than pass? I think that's what, the formula should be, because we're seeing it. Whenever they're rushing really effectively and getting 100 yards plus per game, given Zeke and Tony Pollard, there are W's on the schedule when that happens. So this can't be a game where we see Dallas only throwing the football. So watch for the run game. But yeah, as for the Vikings aren't a bad team. They are a team right now that would be in a wild card spot given the playoffs started today. So this is not a spot where the Dallas Cowboys should underestimate this team at all whatsoever. They have the parts to get this one done in a tight one. It will be tight, but I will take Dallas probably in a field goal game. I honestly think it's going to come down to the wire. It'll be who doesn't make a mistake in terms of Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins. I think these are two guys that can manage the game properly, can manage the game effectively. But I think a turnover, probably Trayvon Diggs, hopefully. I think that would be the difference in this one. But I can't wait for this one. It's going to be really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, given all the Vikings games this season, and even some of the Cowboys games, this game's going down to the wire. I'd be shocked if it's a blow for one of these two teams. Okay, finally, Monday Night Football. The New York Giants coming off of an upset win at home against the Panthers, taking on the Chiefs, who look like a disaster right now. I don't know what's going on with them. The Chiefs, 10-point favorites here. Are you going with the Chiefs at home, or will their struggles continue here, Jelani?
I don't even know if I have faith in this pick right now, because the Chiefs are looking really, really weird. I'm going to go with the points, though. They're at home. Arrowhead, you all know how loud it could get there. It's a very tough place to play. And it's a prime time game. Are the Giants ready for that? I don't know. Daniel Jones, honestly, they're coming off of a good game against Carolina, but I think that Carolina just didn't look good. They didn't come up right. They didn't look right all Sunday. I think that Kansas City, though, this is a team that a lot of people, including myself, had as the AFC representative in the Super Bowl. It's not looking good right now. If they drop this one, I mean, they fall to 3-5, I believe. That would keep them actually in the basement of the AFC West. And we would really, really have to start questioning what's going on with the team. I'm just not impressed with the defense. The defense continues to get exposed. And that's where Daniel Jones in this offense, who has some weapons like Kadarius Toney, they might come up and actually put points on the board. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. But I do think that give it a touchdown and then probably a field goal at some point to really extend that, and the spread would be 10 for the Kansas City Chiefs. But I don't know if I should really trust them right now. They're really looking bad. And Patrick Mahomes, he needs to limit the turnovers. I know he's a gunslinger. That's who he is as a passer. He does take those chances, and he's so relied on this team, right? Because they don't have a defense, so they need him to show up. But I just hope that he has a game where we're like, okay, Patrick Mahomes is here, right? Because he hasn't really looked like himself. The offense hasn't looked like themselves. I want Kelsey to have a big game, right? I think that the tight end play will be huge this week against the New York Giants. But yeah, give me the Chiefs. But if they drop this one, I mean, this is when we're really, really asking ourselves, can this team even make the playoffs?
Yeah, it's gotten that bad with Kansas City. I mean, trouble in paradise for Andy Reid. This is like uncharted territory for him. He's usually got his teams disciplined, playing well, and winning all these games. Yeah, I will say this about the Chiefs. I think it's an overreaction of people saying that Patrick Mahomes has fallen off. I think he's just in a tough spot because when you have a defense that literally can't get any stops, yeah, it puts pressure on Mahomes every time he's out there to make plays because he knows if he doesn't score on that drive, his defense is giving up 7 the other way. So that's why we're seeing Mahomes maybe make a couple of these questionable throws or not protecting the football as he's running, because he's just trying to do too much. He's trying to be perfect on every single drive, because let's call for what it is. He has to be with how bad that defense is. So can this defense step up? Not Patrick Mahomes. Can this defense step up in this spot against the Giants, a team that they should be able to beat? We're going to find out, because the defense needs a statement game. You know, Patrick Mahomes, if he has some help from his defense, he's going to be okay. But going to the spread, I think it's too many points. I cannot put faith in this Chiefs team whatsoever. I'm going to take the Giants plus 10. Patrick Mahomes had a bit of a concussion scare in that last game. He's going to be okay, I believe, in playing this game. But, you know, will that affect him in any way? But also, you look at the Giants, this is a team that plays hard. Daniel Jones, as long as he's there, he's going to, he's going to be their general. He made a nice grab in that game against the Panthers, a couple of nice throws. So the Giants, they like to shake it up. They are not going to be a team that you can take lightly. Barkley obviously still going to be out, which is big for them. But I kind of like their 3 running back attack, if you will, with Booker, Jones, and Penny all filling in nicely. I liked what they did against the Packers as a unit. And then you got weapons like Slayton, Adante Pettis, who, can also be a thrower if they want to run some of those trick plays. So all in all, I think this will be a very interesting game. I think the Giants will be in it for most of it, but I agree with you. If somehow the Chiefs get upset here at home on Monday Night Football when the whole world is watching, yeah, you could, I think, throw the playoffs, out of the conversation. It's going to be tough at 3-5 to come back with, given how good the AFC is, to be considered a playoff team when you lose against a team like the Giants, who are not a playoff team. So yeah, we'll see. Big time, big game for the Chiefs. They got to step up, and that defense has to make some stops, because if they look bad against the Giants, oh boy, there's going to be a lot more questions to answer to. But I'm taking the Giants here plus 10. I think it will be a close game.
All right, well, we'll see if the Giants can get this done. It would be a massive, massive win if they do get it done on the road against the Chiefs, who, if they lose, the media will flame them even more. But that is all for today. All the games covered. You guys know us. It's Jelani. It's Luca. Spreadzies coming back next week. Be sure to tune in. But yeah, we'll see how week 8 plays out. A lot of intriguing games. Hope that you guys watch and enjoy. See you next time.